What's up everyone? Today we have some Bitcoin news. We also have some pretty big XRP news to look at. But first off, we do have news today that Montana brought their Bitcoin bill to the House, making it the 4th state to do so. Montana is seeking to establish a special revenue account that could hold investments in precious metals, Bitcoin, stablecoins, and digital assets with an average market cap exceeding $750 billion. Right now, that would just be Bitcoin. And as I said, Montana is the 4th state to bring the bill to the House, behind Utah, Arizona, and Oklahoma. These bills will take time if approved, and if passed, this legislation would take effect on July 1st, allowing the state treasurer to allocate up to $50 million into said reserve by July 15th. Now, Utah seems to be leading the pack. Utah is the only state where a Bitcoin reserve bill has passed through the House, and Dennis Porter, the CEO of Satoshi Action Fund, suggested that Utah may be the first to implement a Bitcoin reserve due to its legislative calendar and political momentum. Now, I'll leave the link down below to this site, but this basically shows you the progress being made. It also shows you the US and which states are dabbling into Bitcoin, into these reserves. But you can basically see that these are all the steps that these bills need to go through to get to the next step. Now, looking at Bitcoin's chart, you'll see that it looks like we are breaking out of this descending resistance. Going back multiple months, every time Bitcoin has gone to oversold on the 4-hour, in hindsight, it has been a fantastic chance to buy in terms of a short-term swing trade and in terms of accumulating some cheap Bitcoin for this cycle. Now, I did want to pull up the daily and show you guys that we are approaching the 50 MA. This is our next goal, is breaking over this. It has been a resistance, you know, for pretty much throughout all of February, continuing to be pushed under that 50 MA as it tries to break over. Now, I want to bring up the MACD for you guys and show you that last time we saw this cross, right after this period of a downtrend, right after this bit of red, after this bit of selling, we got the MACD cross back here in January 15, and we did see a nice run afterwards. Well, the MACD is getting its cross here. The fact that the RSI is bouncing off oversold, the fact that Bitcoin is breaking its descending resistance, I think things are looking pretty good for Bitcoin. I would feel better if it was back over the 50 MA though. Lately, the trend has been getting rejected at it. We'll see if this plays out differently this time. Now, we do have some XRP news to look at. First off, Brazil approved the first Spot XRP ETF in the world. But that's not it. The SEC also acknowledged some spot ETFs for XRP on behalf of CoinShares, Canary Capital, and Wisdom Tree. The Hashdex Nasdaq XRP Index Fund has been greenlit for trading in Brazil after being approved by the country's securities regulator only a day earlier. And an official date for trading on this exchange has yet to be announced. More details are coming soon. Now, looking at XRP, it has a nice cup and handle formation going on here. And looking at the moving averages, it's working to reclaim the 50 MA. Earlier this year in January, it was bouncing on it, following it upwards, before breaking down from it in February, being under it for most of February. Now, just a few days ago, we saw a bullish divergence on XRP. The price was continuing down. However, the RSI was remaining stable. Zooming way out on XRP, you'll see that it broke its 2017 high very briefly before falling back down. However, you know, this is nice to see some consolidation remaining up here. We did test our previous peak back in the 2021 cycle, and we're basically in between that, in between the 2021 cycle and in between the 2017 cycle. On the weekly, we did see a bearish RSI divergence where the RSI was starting to cool down, but the price kept rising. Shortly after seeing this bearish divergence, this heavily overbought RSI on the weekly, we did sure enough sell off a bit from the 3s all the way down to about 180. The fact that it hasn't just completely sold off and that it's consolidating here in my eyes is a good sign. I do think XRP will finish much higher by the end of this cycle. Will it reach $5? Will it reach $10? I don't think it's going to reach 10. I think there's a real possibility that it can reach 5, meaning about a double up from here. Regardless of what you think it'll do this cycle, in my opinion, it'll be important to take profits in late 2025 following Bitcoin's cycle. The alts also tend to follow Bitcoin's cycle as well, running in the back half of Bitcoin's bull run in the 4-year cycle and pulling back in the beginning of crypto winter. We've seen this in the past with XRP among pretty much all the other altcoins. XRP topped out in 2021, just like Bitcoin. XRP also topped out in 2017, 2018. It topped out a little after Bitcoin in that cycle. But, you know, these alts have a clear correlation with Bitcoin's 4-year cycle. If you think Bitcoin will end this cycle out strong, I don't see why you wouldn't think that some of these alts couldn't double or even more. But, you know, in terms of the alts, it will be important to take profits throughout the rest of this bull run. You don't want to be necessarily holding these far off derivatives, so to speak, of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dropping, these alts will absolutely tank. But when Bitcoin breaks out from its 90,000 to 108,000 range, these altcoins are going to outperform it, in my opinion. So you want to stick around with them for Bitcoin's bull runs, but you don't want any part of them in the bear markets. But thanks as always for watching, guys. How are you feeling today about the Bitcoin miners, the altcoins? We are continuing to see Bitcoin being adopted on a state level. We have other countries jumping in, beating us to certain spot ETFs, and I do think we're going to continue to see a theme there with new countries considering things like this, with new countries considering strategic Bitcoin reserves. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this cycle will end up strong for Bitcoin, or do you think we'll end this cycle very weak for some reason? I do personally think Bitcoin is primed for its next breakout. Once we break 108K, we're off to the races again. We have had times like this with multi-month consolidations after breaking new all-time highs, and I do believe this is just another instance of that. But where do you think Bitcoin tops out at? What's your price target? Where do you plan on trimming? I'm still sticking to my 150K Bitcoin price target. I think we will see it this cycle, but let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.